Funny story. I'm on my third take because I think OBS does not take to the spectralizer in the background, but I like it, so I'm going to try to make it work. Why is this video late? I had a hell of a week. I got out of a pretty abusive relationship. I had therapy, and then I've talked with my therapist again. I've talked with my family, with my friends, reconnected. I've had notes posted at my door by some angry person who wants to win the last argument and make a couple nonsensical accusations. And then I applied to additional schooling, all that. No time to sit in front of my computer. Well, no energy. I've got plenty of time, but no energy to sit in front of my computer and just yap about whatever political thing was on my mind. So let me yap about the political things on my mind. There's a thing that happened in recent time where Republican electorate in some state was seen stuffing votes, and this is in a state that Donald Trump won by 80,000 votes. Swing state, blah, 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 whatever. Didn't stay in the news cycle very long, but nothing stays in the news cycle very long between, the United States president being field to Vladimir Putin, all people silencing the genocide in, Gaza, and Gavin Newsom having an optics war with the Republicans, and the worsening immigrant police militarization situation. ICE is just cracking down. We've got it's pretty bad here.
Release the Epstein files, by the way. We're not forgetting. No one's forgetting.
It's almost as if we're on the final road to fascism or something. I don't know. And on top of all that, it appears as if gay marriage is on the chopping block. So weird. I mean, it's been a weird couple of weeks, but weird week for me. I haven't been able to get around to it. But the story about the ballot stuffing thing, you'd think that election cheating would stay in the news cycle a little longer, because when the Republicans want to drown out something or make a point, they'll never shut up about it. And I am going to use borrowed observations and lessons from a series called The Alt-Right Playbook by Innuendo Studios that I recommend everyone watch. It's called You Go High, We Go Low. It's when you fight dirty in politics, and when you have power, you do all the worst things that people say is not noble to further a goal. That way, when you lose power, eventually, and knowing tides, you will lose power at some point, you make it so that your opposition cannot do the dirty thing that you did to gain power. That is what the Republican establishment has been doing for a very long time. Even before Donald Trump, a lot of people call it the ratchet effect, because Democrats who gain power do not do their due diligence to undo those things. They just roll with them and be like, okay, well, this is normal. We're going to have to operate better within the system instead of just like reworking it because it means ceding power to workers. Whatever. Conflicting desires notwithstanding. Ballot stuffing. Not in the news cycle because way too much stuff is happening, right? I think that it's not sticking because of things I mentioned in the video that Innuendo Studios about, like, we go high, we go low, you go high, or whatever, right? Democrats can't cry foul when foul is very blatantly being committed at some level. It's like, it's not just a coincidence that all these things are happening, right? It's part of a structural system of power plays. When you catch people on camera stuffing ballots in a swing state, and then the richest man on earth tells the president that he should be grateful because without him, he wouldn't have won the election. And then the president lets slip out that there was a bit of foul play, but he didn't say it explicitly. It's just that it can be interpreted that way.
World Cup. And I said, it's too bad. One was in 2026 and the other was in 2028. And I said, I won't be there. I won't be your president. But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president for the Olympics.
But this guy, he's not the brightest, right? So you could say, oh yeah, he meant what he said. What do you do? What do Democrats do? They can't cry foul and it's because it would make them look weak. I mean, they look pretty weak right now. But when Republicans did that when Joe Biden lost the election, it's actually because they weren't afraid of looking like sore losers or weak people. They were just focused on controlling a sort of narrative, right? Because Republicans don't care if they look weak, if they look stupid, or if they look desperate for something. As long as they're able to pull the political levers and get what they need done, then it just doesn't matter what comes out of their mouths or what rhetoric they use. Because when they eventually get power, they can continue to abuse those things in more legitimized ways, knowing that they broke them in previous places. And that's kind of fucked up, because when I woke up on November 5th and found out that Kamala Harris was reported to have lost the 2024 election, I was like, damn, bro, that's crazy. White people elected another fascist. Well, it's like Bush twice, right? Like, people hated George Bush, but this time he pulled a whole Grover Cleveland. The non-consecutive, there's a whole lot of precedents that have been here, and it's like, at some point you realize that the dominant hegemonic group does have like most of the voting power in this country, like men, white women after that, right? But don't want to just wait for the counts and whatever. But no, Kamala Harris, seeds, and I lost the election fair and square eventually, and that's very much unlike what Donald Trump did when he lost his first election. And again, it's because they don't care about looking weak. Democrats care all about political messaging and poise and all that stuff. What they don't care about is being effective, which comes at the expense of not being effective in government. Y'all can't do nothing. And the people who said they're going to do stuff. And they don't care what bones they have to break to get out the way, which is why we have the President of the United States basically occupying his own capital with the military. And internationally, that's like a huge red flag for the world's leading superpower with all the nukes to do that. But it's like, what are you going to do? The people of DC aren't going to fight back enough. I mean, they do, but it's the fucking military, right? ICE occupying everything. There's police with tanks. There's not much people can do to fight this desolation that's occurring. The system's being broken down. Once the tools are in the shed, they're there, right? And now you just have to reckon with it. You have to mutually elect to delete those tools from the shed. And Democrats see that. Establishment Democrats see the things that Republicans do. And the reason that they don't undo them is because they want to be able to use those things in the future, but not against Republicans. They want to be able to use it on people because control is what they want to. So why isn't it in the news cycle more that there's a burgeoning wave of election fraud for one of the most important positions in the world? It's because the people who lost don't feel like looking weak or don't think it would be effective messaging to do the same thing that people that they hate do, which is disheartening. On an unrelated note, connect with people in your life, share your tasks, share your skills, do what you need to do to make your environment and your communities safe. Join an organization, organize a union, something if you can. If you're empowered to do it, please do it. I can't be a hypocrite. I've done it, and I went years without doing that. The moment I did, of course, I got criticism for it for people who I thought were important to me. But what's more important to me is a world that I can help make safer in whatever ways. And if you can't, find out what you can do. So, how I'm feeling, or what I'm feeling, or a memory. After therapy, I realized that there's a giant monkey off my back for stuff that I want in my life, and the kind of person that I am and want to become in the future. I'm feeling great. I feel fucking fantastic. I can see in color again. And that's good because a lot of people were worried about me, and I couldn't explain without making it seem like I was dealing with something that there's some things that I don't feel okay talking about in front of people in terms of like being vulnerable, or not in front of a therapist, because you know, unload in front of a therapist and you know, hope they don't send you to grippy sock jail or whatever. But no, I after, you know, letting go of that relationship, I realized that that relationship was the thing that was making me depressed. And I have so much in my life. I mean, I've got this giant computer set up. I'm getting buff. I've got a job and connections that have some sort of element of prospects. I've got enough money to go back to school that I'm like getting plans for, you know. I've got a strong family with, you know, a strong social circle and all of that. And I'm like the healthiest I've been in my life. The only bad thing was that I was dealing with somebody who did not want that for me. What I'm reading now, I think I said I was reading a couple of books. I forget what because I recorded my last video a couple of times and I mentioned a couple of them from my first shot. So there was a recent graphic novel that I finished called DPS Only. It's a nice little graphic novel about a little sister of the Faker. That's the League of Legends Faker of her universe, basically. Being a social media manager and kind of being like a super high ranked pro game player on the down low, and then like getting an opportunity to compete in the tournament and eventually face her brother, but while also hiding her identity the entire time. It's really cool and I recommend it, and I'll probably put it up here sometime to composite, which I am going to do this time. I'm going to composite, need background music. I'm not going to let y'all down. Nice book. And then what I'm listening to, I recently finished Chance the Rapper's Starline? Whatever the last Chance the Rapper thing came out. I've listened to Don't Tap the Glass 4 times. I'm trying to see how I feel about the album. It's really good. It's catchy, but it's over before I know it, you know? It's like I'm playing Don't Tap the Glass and then Oldie comes on and my mind hasn't like registered that the album is ended because it's good Tyler, you know? And then I listened to the Clips album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, and Let God Sort 'Em Out, and then God Does Like Ugly. I need to listen to that album too. That's all I'm listening to. What I'm playing, I think I mentioned I was playing Monster Hunter Rise a while ago. I was reading from my phone because I'm dumb. It's Monster Hunter Wilds. That's a good game, but I've been exploring a couple of game options. I did start playing Phantasy Star Zero just to see how it was. Phantasy Star Zero is a lot like Phantasy Star Online, where Phantasy Star Online is a 25-year-old game. Phantasy Star Zero was made in like 2008. It's a DS game. It's a DS version of an RPG that already no one fucking played. And I've sunk like 10 hours into it maybe, and I think I've gotten everything I need to get to understand from that game before I move on to something else. And then I just beat Crash Team Racing, just like before I go to sleep, I'll like clock in a couple hours on, you know, whatever device I'm playing it on. And, so I just beat that in like Pinstripe because he's a black car. It's cool. Did I make anything this week? I started drawing again, and I'll share the actual drawing when I'm finished, but I'm trying to make it a drawing of the caliber that I used to make when I made money drawing. So I can't share that yet. That's the end of the video, I think. OBS crashed again. Anyways, if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to stick around. I will not be linking my social media at this time. If you know me, you know me. If you don't, you're in my comment section. Tell me something you like about rattlesnakes if you made it this far. I'll know who you are, and I'll appreciate you more. You're not fake if you did make it this far. But I do want to hear. If you have any recommendations for books or for games or for music, I'd also like to hear them. And I guess that's it. Peace.
Honest to God, this cat always... Look, this is where he sleeps during heat waves. Look at this. If I told you he was 20 pounds and 9 years old, you would not believe it.